Welcome to Lighting for Profits with Ryan Lee, your number one source for all things landscape lighting. From lighting design, install, sales, and marketing, we discuss everything you need to know to start and grow a successful landscape lighting business.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Lighting for Profits. I'm your host, Ryan Lee. So excited you're here. Happy Tuesday. Oh, man. I'm so excited to do this. Got a great show lined up. I got an amazing story for you today. But before I tell you that, I'll tell you a little bit what to expect on the show today. We got Dave Carroll with Dope Marketing. I mean, what a cool business name, Dope Marketing. So I'm super excited to have him on. We're going to learn about some of the latest trends in marketing and how you can increase your profits by dialing in those marketing dollars and making sure you're making the most of your profits, right? So we are here live on Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station. Your industry, your station. And look, if you are looking to start or grow a landscape lighting business, then you are definitely in the right place. So I want to remind you guys real quick before we get started that Lighting for Profits is now on all the podcast networks, Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, all the cool ones. But listen, I did receive my first, I've gotten a couple 5-star reviews. Someone gave me a 2-star review. Like, what the, come on, guys. If you're a fan of Lighting for Profits, go on there right now. Go on to whichever one you're on and give me a 5-star review. Don't give me a 2-star. I don't want no 2-star review. That's part of it. Can't please everybody. And I want to thank you guys for your support. So again, I got Dave Carroll with Dope Marketing going to be on, and this guy's a total stud. He's doing a lot of really cool things, and I promise you're going to want to listen to what he has to say. He's got a lot of really neat ways to help you grow your business by focusing those marketing dollars on things that actually work. When you're doing your marketing right, it's not an expense, it's an investment. And every dollar in brings you $2, $3, $4, $5, $10 out, right? And that's the name of the game. But listen, I want to tell you the story that happened to me because there is a point to it, and it does relate to business. But Sunday, we were out of town. We were with the family, a super top secret location. And we were at lunch with some friends. And this was on Sunday. There was about 11 of us with all of our kids. And there was like a waitress and then another guy. Like there was a few people kind of helping us, probably because we had this big group or whatever. I don't know. We're sitting in the corner booth. And the waiter comes up, and for some reason, he's only got 3 drinks. He's like coming up right behind me, like right on my shoulder here. And he's like almost spilling these 3 drinks on me. And I'm just kind of like paranoid, like, dude, back off, bro. Don't spill on me. And didn't spill on me. So that was good. But my friend was sitting like 2 seats over, and the waitress comes and she's delivering one of the waters and spills one of the waters on his shoulder. Like it was actually on this shoulder over here. And I'm like, dude, man, that sucks, Glad it was him, but that sucks, right? And no, I mean, seriously, a few minutes later, they're bringing out the kids' drinks and there's some soda. The dude spills a little soda on his other shoulder. He gets spilled on twice. This is just the beginning of the story, by the way. So what do you think the restaurant should have done? Should they have done anything? Like, is it their responsibility to be like, hey, let me comp you a dessert. Hey, let me take a meal off. Let me give you a gift card to come back. What do you guys think? I mean, what would you do if this was your business? Should they do anything? I don't know. But let me get to the real point of the story. Later on that afternoon, I'm on a flight. We're flying back home. And holy cow. The flight was going great. I got 4 kids. And so there's 6 of us. My wife's over here with 2 kids. I'm on this side with 2 kids. We're all lined up. And the kids are being great. I start to watch a movie. The movie's kind of boring. And we're about an hour and a half in. And I decide, I'm going to close my eyes and just take a break. Try maybe even fall asleep, right? And I was about 5 minutes into my shut eye, where you just get to that point where you're like falling asleep. And it just feels so good. You're like, man, that is nice, right? And all of a sudden, splash, all down my leg. this splash. And I'm not sure if I said it out loud or not. I thought it out loud. And I was like, damn it. And I think I may have yelled it. But at the time, I didn't know what it was. I just thought someone spilled their drink. Oh, no. At that point, I would have only prayed that someone would have spilled their water, prayed that they spilled their soda on me, because it was worse. I had on my leg the lunch from the kid in front of me. I mean, the kid threw up. It splashed on his chair, apparently, and slid in between the back of the chair down on to my leg. Oh, my gosh. I'm literally like, this is hard to talk about because I'm like dry heaving thinking about it, right? All I could think to do was just get up and run to the back of the plane. And I ran to the bathroom and tried to clean this up as I'm literally like gagging. And oh my gosh, I'm a germaphobe, by the way. Even before COVID, I was the guy that, I get gas and I put hand sanitizer on. I shake your hand, I put hand sanitizer on. Generally speaking, I don't like to be close to people, right? I don't like kids. All right. Well, I've got my own kids. I like them plenty, but I definitely don't like other kids. And these people too, by the way, I was judging them because when we sat down, their kids were obnoxious, just screaming, mommy, mommy, mommy. It's like, dude, you're right there. Like, why is she screaming for her mom? And so I knew this was going to be a bad experience. I knew it was going to be a bad flight, but I thought that my headphones would cure the problems that were about to ensue. Little did I know that I was going to have little Johnny's lunch all down my leg. Oh my goodness. So at that moment in time, I thought, after I got everything cleaned up, I thought about my friend and I thought, man, I'd totally trade him seats right now. I'd much rather have a couple of drinks spilled on my shoulder, maybe even on my head, than to deal with the situation. I don't even like to say say the word, because it makes me sick. But that was just so disgusting. I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't sit down in that seat again. I was standing in the back of the plane. There's turbulence. The ladies are like, listen, I'm sorry, you have to go sit down. Well, lucky for me, there was a seat right behind, and then on the opposite side, it was open. It was in the middle, which I don't like the middle because, again, I don't really like being close to people, but whatever. I asked, hey, do you care if I sit there? And they were nice enough to let me sit there with my stank leg. Okay. They were nice enough to let me sit there. And I just had to focus, get my mind off of it. I tried to turn on the movie, everything else. Well, I didn't realize this, but one of the flight attendants told their boss or whatever, literally making myself sick right now. And she came and talked to my wife and said, hey, we're sorry about what happened, and we're going to give you some miles. So, I got a Delta. We were on Delta. I got a flight mile or whatever. My wife doesn't. So she said, well, I'm going to give you some miles. Well, I asked my wife later, I said, hey, who was that? And what'd she say? She said, oh, she's going to give us some miles. I'm like, oh, okay. How many miles do you expect to receive if you're thrown up on an airplane? That's my question to you. Let me know how many miles is that worth to you, right? So she gave me 2,500 miles, 2,500 miles. And I just really? 2,500 miles? I just got thrown up on. Can't you do better than that? So what would you guys do? What would you expect an airline to do for you? Now, it wasn't their fault. Maybe the pilot could have flown a little smoother or something. I don't know. But it wasn't their fault. I mean, it was somebody else that happened to do that. But it still happened on their watch, right? It happened at the job. So my question for you is, what would you do? And what would you expect if you were in my situation? Should I write them a letter? Should I demand more? Should I just be okay with it and realize that stuff happens, right? And the reason I bring this up is because, as business owners, this stuff happens to us. I remember in my business, things would happen that were outside of my control. Sometimes it was our fault, and that was a lot easier to accept responsibility, right? And sometimes it wasn't our fault. It was out of our control. And, I didn't want to take responsibility. I didn't want to foot the bill, but a lot of times I did. So what do you guys think? Should the airlines be responsible? Obviously, they're not responsible for it, but should they give me more? Should they give me a round trip ticket? Should they give me 25,000 miles? Should they give me something more than the 2,500 miles, which we all know is worth less than $25? Because, most flights are, you can't book for for 25,000 miles. You got to pay 50, 60,000 miles, right? So I don't know. I had to share that with you because I feel like it's part of my therapy. I have to get it off my chest and be like, oh my gosh, this happened to me. Don't let this happen to you. And, in business, stuff's going to happen, whether it's your own employees that break stuff or that do something wrong, or sometimes there was times where customers would send us a bill. We get a bill in the mail 6 months after we've done the install. And it says sprinkler repair, $350. And I'm like, well, sprinkler repair? What's going on? I mean, we did the lights 6 months ago. And they say, well, we didn't know right away. And then we called our guy out and had it fixed or whatever. And that's what he charged us. And I'm thinking, man, I could have had my guys fix that in 10 minutes in between, on the way home from another job or something like that. That's not no $350. And I could have really just argued with that customer and probably generated a 1-star review online. But I just wrote the check and paid them the $350 to fix the irrigation, right? Now, I did tell them, like, hey, if that happens again, let us know. We can fix this. It doesn't cost $350. That guy clearly knew that you were going to send this to another business and that we were going to have to pay, right? Because he probably wouldn't have charged her that to go fix a simple sprinkler break or something like that. So I want to know what you guys would do in your business. What do you do? I mean, how much is your responsibility? Obviously, if it's your own guys or whatever, but what if something else happens while you're there that's not necessarily your responsibility? Do you make it up, and how do you do it, right? And in my opinion, I think Delta, it wasn't their fault, but I do think that they could have done more. I do think they could have been like, man, we are sorry that happened, on our airplane. Here's what we're going to do for you, give you some additional miles or whatever. But I don't know. That's why I want your feedback. I want your opinions because, oh man, I don't know. I get nauseous just even thinking about it. So maybe we should just stop talking about it now. But I promise you this, if you do have mishaps in your business, and you're going to, whether you misspoke or maybe one of your employees told someone that you could do something that you can't, I would do whatever you can, bend over backwards to make it right. And sometimes you do that and the customer still just leaves you blind and they abandon ship and they don't give you repeat business, but it's still the right thing to do, because I promise you, if you don't do that, they're going to spread a lot of hate. They're going to spread a lot of cancer a lot faster than any goodwill that you created. So I do think that, unfortunately, as part of being in business is you have to be willing to eat some costs. You have to be willing to do some things that, as a person, might not be okay with, but as a business, I feel like you have to do that. And unfortunately, people know that. And there are a lot of homeowners that will try to take advantage of you. So it's not to say that you just have to do anything, but, like, for example, if someone calls and said, hey, we've got to cut wire, I would go out there and say, listen, I know that our lighting wire doesn't cut itself. Someone had to do this. The landscaper probably did it. We're going to go ahead and take care of this. But if you wouldn't mind, just let the landscaper know that you have lighting installed recently, and have them be careful. Or sometimes they'll hit a fixture with a mower or whatever it is, right? And so just education and communication will solve a lot of different problems in your business. So that's all I want to share with you in regards to my disastrous plane ride from my top secret location. So guys, we are going to take just a quick break. And then, like I told you earlier, we got my man, Dave Carroll, with Dope Marketing. I love that business name. It makes me want to work for him. I mean, I love that name. We're going to ask him about Dope Marketing and why it's called Dope Marketing. And I know it has to do with, he likes the word dope, but there's more to it now. So we're going to ask him about that. So guys, stick around for some more Lighting for Profits here in just a couple minutes.
Hey everybody, this is Hecubus from the Nightcap. I'm just sitting here relaxing within the vault with my friends and a tasty pint. You should stop by and listen in sometime. I'm here every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, live only on Turf's Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Hey, landscape pros, are you tired of digging through rocks and roots and breaking shovels in the process? Then it's time you checked out the Geo Ripper 616. It's a landscaper's dream with the Makita 6 Series 2-cycle engine producing over 4 horsepower of raw performance. The 616 digs deep in up to 16 inches of the toughest soils. Lighting, landscape, and irrigation contractors already love this improved lightweight trencher with its ability to get in and get out faster, easier, and with less ground disturbance. And you will too. This redesigned Geo Ripper 616 comes with 2 heavy-duty digging chains and a whole mess of helpful extras. To learn more about the Geo Ripper and how it can help you out in the field, visit georipper.com today.
Do you hear that? It's quiet. No sounds of anger, attempts to throw a phone or computer out the window, or annoyance trying to change your business to make it fit into a software program. Crew Control just works. It's easy to do your scheduling. You can be up and running in less than a day. It's got everything you need and nothing you don't. Give it a try for yourself with our 2-week free trial. crewcontrol.com. That's crewcontrol.com.
All right. Welcome back to Lighting for Profits. I'm Ryan Lee, your host here on Turfs Up Radio. And it's time to welcome our special guest, Mr. Dave Carroll. Let me make sure the technology's working. What's up, Dave? How you doing, man?
What's up? What's up, Ryan? Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. I'm super excited to have you on here. I am big on teaching people profits. And there's so many reasons. One, I'm addicted to money. I love making money. I'm proud of it. We're in America. We're capitalists. We can do this. And marketing is just one of those awesome pieces that I feel like can either make or break a company. And you are like an expert at this. So I'm excited to have you on here. How have you been? What have you been up to?
Heat wave, man. Like 98 degrees out. It's hot. I kind of went up here in Minnesota. I'm almost reminded that I would rather be in the winter than I would this
really.
But yeah, we get all 4 seasons up here, and this year they like skipped the spring. We didn't get any of that, so it's
COVID.
hot, but working away in the print shop.
That's awesome, man. Well, tell me a little bit about yourself, and how did you end up with this dope company called Dope Marketing?
Yeah, so the name of the company is an interesting story. There's a short version and a long version. I'll tell a little bit of both. So I have a great habit of saying the word dope 3 times in every sentence when I talk. And so that's the cliche version. But I met a guy this year, amazing individual by the name of Eric Wynn. We were out at one of the roofing conventions out in New Orleans, Win the Storm, Storm Venture Group. Great if you're in the roofing space, check them out for sure. I'm outside pretending that I quit smoking, and I run into Eric Wynn, and Eric was like, dope marketing. And I was like, yeah, how can we help you? He said, Dave, Eric's a very decorated sniper, did like 4 tours, a veteran stand-up guy, and serious guy, though, very, very serious guy. And Eric's like, so Dave, you know that every sniper needs good dope. And I was like, Eric, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, Dave, dope. Data on previous engagement. That's dope. And it was like, it hit me like a punch in the stomach. So like every time I tell the story where the company came from, it's me and my great, amazing vocabulary. But in reality, the real story should be, we listen to good people like Eric Wynn, and we understand that in our businesses, success leaves clues. We don't have to like guys way smarter than me, than Ryan, than anyone else you're ever going to talk to have had much more success figuring out the things that we're trying to do for a living. And the beauty about that is success in business really does leave clues, and that success is based on data on your previous engagement, a previous marketing campaign, something you tried in your business, a piece of equipment that you were using for whatever, and you learned from it and you were able to optimize your business. So good dope grows good businesses, and we try to incorporate that here at Dope Marketing.
Dude, I love the fact that you called it dope without knowing what that, the military or the snipers version of it was, but it fits perfectly with marketing. I mean, it literally is. If you don't have data, you don't have anything. You're just guessing and you're throwing, just like throwing darts at a wall blind and stuff like that. So, and I know you're big on data. So that's one of the things that like, I feel like differentiates yourself. Like, I know I've dealt with other marketing companies in the past and they're kind of like, they'll kind of do what we want, but I feel like you guys kind of steer your clients in the direction that that they need. Because honestly, like most business owners are not, we think we're everything. Like I can do marketing, I can do sales, I can do this, I can answer the phones. I don't need anyone, but we really don't know we're not really good at anything, so we need people like you.
We all have the habit of wearing a couple too many hats, especially where you're first starting off or you're adding a new service or something like that. Like you want to take the reins of what you're doing. And a lot of times, we have this fear of giving up control as business owners. You don't want to hire something out, or you're scared to, put someone in a position because they might not do it quite like you. And the thing is, like, when you give up that control as a business owner, that's when the really powerful things happen, because you start to grow things that are scalable without you being involved. And I think when it goes to marketing and the data side of marketing, it's like, no marketing company or campaign should make you feel like you're reinventing the wheel in your business. Like there's not some magic thing that no one's heard of that you're going to figure out tomorrow that's going to change your business forever. And now you can afford the Escalade and the Rolex and buy the new house and you're not having to work anymore. Like that's not it. It doesn't quite work like that.
Private jet.
The idea is that when you look at data, when you look at historical data and things that have happened years in the past to your business, I have a corny saying where it's like an entrepreneur has 5 fingers on their hand for a reason. You have 4 things that are working, that you're doing, that are happening, and you have another thing that's disposable, that you're adding or tweaking or working on to put it into a duplicatable system in your business. And so like the guys who have already had success, whether you're in the landscape lighting, maybe you're doing Christmas lights, maybe you're whatever service your company provides, it's like there's someone that you can look at who's achieved the level of success that you want to. And more times than not, whether they talk about it in Facebook groups, you follow them online, maybe you just watch their company or you get targeted with their advertising or whatever. It's like a lot of people already have this stuff figured out. And it's not your job to reinvent the wheel, but instead pay attention to the things that are foundationally working, where you can put $1 in that vending machine and get $1 back or $2 back. Like that's a good marketing campaign.
Yeah, 100%. And they say, I can't remember what book it was. It might be called The Who, not the How, but that's really what it is. It's all about finding like, why try to reinvent the wheel? Why try to figure out how to do it? Because there's already guys like you that you're the guy, you're the Who that already knows how to do this stuff when it comes to marketing. So tell me why I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you're really focused on the service-based businesses, like
absolutely
anyone dealing with a homeowner. Why is that?
So my background, I started a exterior cleaning company here in the Twin Cities. We're going to our 11th year in business. We have upwards of 7 to 13 guys in the field anytime during the year, a couple girls in the office. That business, I never understood the relativity of it until I got into the data and the marketing side. Like home service businesses, we consider like 70 different verticals, right? You have lawn care, pest removal, roofing, HVAC. And the thing is, like, you run labor or you run equipment or somewhere in between. Like there's someone's paying you for your specialty, your time, or to simply do something they don't want to do. They don't want to get on a ladder and get on their roof, or they don't want to go rent a stump grinder and figure out how to remove that tree out of their drive, whatever. It's like home service holds a special place in my heart because it's like, as an entrepreneur, it was the first thing that I did and had like some success with. I started my cleaning company back when I was 25. I've humbly scaled myself out of that business. It's really interesting. We added, we had the guys go through garage floor coating training last week. We're adding that service to our business because, right, success leaves clues. We did some research. Every company in the Twin Cities that offers that service at $7.50, $8 a square, they're booked out a month and a half. And I have labor. I know how to buy trucks and a grinder and put guys through training. And so it's like, as entrepreneurs, we have to be opportunistic. And for me, as an entrepreneur, I look for pain. There's a great book called The Go-Giver. And in that book, it's a story of this CEO, and he goes through these 5 lessons. And my man, look at that. If you guys are listening to the podcast, you won't see that, but Ryan literally just held up the book. Like, the idea is that he asked this guy, the guy telling the story in the book, asked his mentor a question, and he's like, so how much do I sell my product for, and how much money can I make? And when you look at that from a perspective of adding a new service or starting a business or getting into something like let's say it's Christmas lights or something, how much money can you make depends on the problem you can solve. Like how big is the problem? A heart surgeon is going to make more than the guy that created the pest rock. What do you charge is like, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. How many people can you help depends on how much you can charge. How big is the problem you can solve depends on how much money you can make. And if I didn't get that right, read the book. It's a quick read, but it's like, the idea is that you in home service, the level of the problem, like go back to last year during all the stuff with COVID. Home service businesses showed more than anything that they were tried and true. Like people were staying home, they had more money, they weren't buying Gucci belts or taking vacations or spending as much money on the things that you could do when you would leave your house. So what did people do? They reinvested in their home. They built a new pool. They did an interior remodel. They were maintaining their house, doing cleaning. They were, whatever the case was. And it was like, when you look at the problems you can solve in business, small business owners have 100 problems. At Dope Marketing, we found out a way to just solve 7 of those problems perfectly through print, through direct mail, through these things. Digital marketing, there's courses on that. You can go learn that. Building a website, you can hire someone, you can build that yourself. TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever. All these different platforms, it's like a very individual use case based off how much you want to post, how good you are on camera, all these things. But with traditional marketing, direct mail, yard signs, all that stuff, if you have one company that's just a resource, they can go through data, they can go through strategy, they can go through design, they can go through execution. Our job at Dope Marketing becomes pretty easy because it's not like, Ryan, how good were your leads? How bad were your leads? Did you answer the phone? I'm like, dude, did your box get there? Would you like another box? Can we help you check off? You got 100 problems. 7 of them have to do with what we do perfectly. And that's really what we try to focus on. So my love and my passion behind home service and helping any one of those 70 verticals is very focused on the fact that like you have a problem. And for those problems, like we built a business around having those solutions.
I love that, man. I mean, honestly, I think that's one of the differentiators that you guys have is like, there's a lot of marketing companies out there, but you guys really, you come from that background of having your own, cleaning business. So you get what people want. Like I know, especially in landscape lighting, it's such a small niche that people are afraid. They're like, well, I hired this guy and it didn't work. So now they don't trust.
Never going to do it again. Right.
Yeah. And it's like, well, that's the wrong attitude. You just hired the wrong guy. You know what I mean? Because there is some big time dollars to be made with effective marketing. One thing that I want to ask you about too is, a lot of people will say, well, I'm just not a salesperson. They don't want to be pushy, everything else. But what I've seen is effective marketing campaigns can really like, how can an effective marketing campaign help someone with their salesmanship and help them with that process?
When you can I always look at like where guys are at and what they're charging for their service. Cause we all go through this journey, right? Of like, we got to be the cheapest so I can actually drum up some work because I have bills to pay. And then you deal with that level of customer that's only looking for the good price, but you're scared to charge like the super premium. So you're kind of playing in this middle and you run some deals and you try some stuff. And then you get to this point, which people define as success, where you're like, I'm just buying back my minutes. Like I can do this much work and that we can only work 8 hours, 10 hours. Like our AC went out on our house the other day with this heat wave. And the HVAC company's like, we can only work 14 hours a day. Like we can't do anymore. There's only so many people we can get to in that time. And so when you find this very good middle ground of like, I really like a 65% close rate. That's when I feel like our businesses are doing the best. It's not, if you're closing 80, 90, you get the online warriors. I close 95% of the jobs I bid. Well, I'm like, hey, brother, you might want to raise your prices a little bit.
105%.
Exactly, right? The real winners. And
why stop at 95?
Yeah. Love it. Always doing better. The idea is like, your business is going to tell you stories. It's that data that we just talked about. It's like, I really like when you go into, there's a couple different girls that start home service businesses. You grew up doing something, right? You were born into it. Your dad was a roofer or whatever, and you're just in line. You follow the footsteps. You're now just shoe into that business. You were a technician for another company. You worked for another company. You didn't like the boss. You didn't think he was that great, whatever. Or maybe you were, a salesperson or someone that went out that was like generating work for another company. Or you had a job back in college or sometime. You understood a service, went out into the corporate world or got a job and you're like, man, I really want some financial freedom, or I want to spend more time with my kids, or I want to be able to just live this lifestyle that I see that's possible that I'm not doing with this 9 to 5. So you decide to go get a tax ID and take this journey. I think like you take on some certain responsibilities when you go get that EIN, that tax ID. It's like you got to take on those hats, those 100 problems you got to wear during the day. And I think for people that aren't as they don't consider themselves salespeople, your job as the business owner is to be selfish for your customer. Like, you're solving problems for them, the videos you're putting out, the postcards, the marketing messages, the whatever content that you're putting out to let people know, hey, you have a problem, I have a solution. If I have less jobs on the calendar than time that I have during the day, well, my time that I don't have work, it's just my job to go find more people to talk about the problem that I solve. And so when you can really dial in on, it takes the fear or the anxiety out of whether it's the human interaction, the public speaking, doing the dance, saving the cat from the tree, shaking the hand, kissing the baby, whatever. It's like, your job is to simply become an expert in being the problem you solve. And when you get very comfortable having a conversation with anyone about just like, hey, I'm Dave the window cleaner, and what I do really well is I clean windows better than anyone, and we're the most reviewed, the most affordable, the quickest to respond. Whatever you're putting a little steam behind with that story, it's like you have the ability to talk back that potential, hey, I'm not the best sales guy, or hey, I'm not that good on video like Ryan is, or whatever. It's not about that. It's more like, can you have a comfortable conversation with any other human about the reason that you went and got that tax ID? And that takes the sales out of it. You just are a professional problem solver, and you should be able to talk to anybody about that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that the more they see some of the marketing, the signs, the postcards, all that stuff, it starts to build a relationship, and it softens that. So they're just kind of they're waiting for you to come, quote unquote, sell them, because it's not.
They have a problem. They need you.
Yep. It's literally a problem solver. You're just helping people. I'm glad you said that, because like people just, they kind of freak out about the word sales, and it's like, it's not sales. You're just a problem solver. You're just helping people.
That's it.
Hey, we got to take a quick break, but I've got like 4,000 more questions for you. So stick around, and then we're going to have to go quick, because I want to ask you about Marketing 360. I want to ask you more about how you're helping business owners and how you can help some of these landscape lighting guys grow and scale their business.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's just so much easier if I...
Hey, everybody, it's Brooke Ford, host of The Green Veteran here on Turf's Up Radio. Be sure to about everything. If you think your clients don't need you and the connections you have, think again. Join turfsupnation.com today and start putting more money in your pocket for services you never knew you could. To sign up for this free service, go to turfsupnation.com.
Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. The Weekend Review.
The Weekend Review. The Weekend Review.
Join King Darren and all of your favorite Turfs Up radio hosts, including Hecubus, Eric the Turf Teacher Jones, Ryan.
My name is not Brian.
Ryan Lee, Wayne the Prophet Bowles,
One opportunity.
his son Daniel, Ford the Green Veteran,
Giddy up.
and many more. Join us live as we unpack the week and share what you may have missed live on Turfs Up Radio. That's the Weekend Review, Saturdays, 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Welcome back to Lighting for Profits here on Turfs Up Radio. I am joined by the one and only Dave Carroll of marketing or Dope Marketing. I'm thinking Marketing 360 because that's what I wanted to ask you about. But let's talk about before I get to that. I want to ask you something. I feel like a lot of small business owners, they start it and they don't know how to grow, so then they wear it like a badge of honor. Like, you know what, I grew my business by word of mouth. And they're like proud that they've never spent $1 on advertising. Why, in your opinion, why is that a bad idea? To grow a business just on word of mouth alone?
So it's like we all get to decide our definition of success, right? Like, what is it? Is it getting to spend time with your kids? Is it being able to just do whatever you want to all day? Is it coming home accomplished after a hard day's work? Like, you get to pick what this thing is. And I think a lot of guys, they get in their own way. I mean, if you want to grow your business, the way to do it is to not spend money on marketing and this is not coming from a marketing guy. It's coming from a business owner. Like, I was the guy that was like, I want to make $1 million and I want to get off the truck and I only want to do bids and I don't want whatever. And it's like, you can't do that off of word of mouth advertising. You can, but like, how much do you want to expedite it? Well, I can't afford it, or I can't have the time, or I can't. You know what my mentality was when I was on the path of getting to where I wanted to go with that cleaning business? I was like, if I couldn't afford it, I'd go sell a kidney. If I didn't have the time, I'd wake up earlier. If I couldn't figure it out, like, Google is the greatest thing in the world. It's like this whole thing of roadblocks or getting in your own way. Excuses are easy. And if you want something to happen quicker, there's a way to do that. Have more people understand the problem you're solving. And you know how you get more people to understand the problem you're solving? You spend money to get in front of those people with a consistent message with multiple different touches, so that as people are looking in the newspaper, seeing Facebook, checking their mailbox, looking on their door for a door hanger, seeing the guy at the gas station with the t-shirt, looking at the truck wrap, it's all a touch. It all has a different value, but as long as it all looks the same and it's not confusing, you can literally make yourself more memorable than any other company in your market, starting one zip code at a time. And so for guys that want to grow and want to grow fast, like, I don't know, Ryan, about you or anyone else watching or listening to this, but like, patience is not my best quality. And so when I want things to happen a little bit faster, I push. And how do you push? We have this a magical switch at a business. Like, if you pull out your credit card, you can literally push as hard as you want to. And I'm not saying go spend all your money, or to this question that Paul just asked, like, it's not about go spend all your money on something you don't understand and then figure out if it works at the end. It's like, look at what the company in your area that's as big as you want to be is doing, and figure out how to dial that down geographically to create that same result or that same feeling, one neighborhood at a time. Your spreadsheet, your customer list is going to leave you clues. If you simply download your customer list, sort it by zip code, pick the top 3 zip codes where you did jobs last year, that's where you should be spending your marketing dollar, because there are more people in those areas that you did job for in other areys, and they don't know about you yet, or else they would hire you. So like, awesome. Data is powerful, geographically dialed down. And I don't know if you guys just hop into Paul's question here. Like,
yeah, I think you did good on that one. Yeah. So I love what you said about that. Like, you know, dial in, find out where it's already working and stuff. Yeah. In my opinion, I've never had a marketing budget, because something you said earlier, if you're putting $1 in and getting more than $1 out, that's not an expense. That's
cash in.
Investment. And it's like, how many dollars can I give you? Dave, just tell me. Like, I'll give you as many as I can find today, because you're going to convert those into $10 bills, $100 bills. I'm all in, right? But that's assuming that you're doing it correctly. If you're not doing it correctly, then your marketing budget might be zero, because just do word of mouth. You haven't figured it out. You haven't found Dave with dope marketing. So let's talk about this real quick. Where do you recommend? Like, where are you going to get the best ROI for doing landscape lighting? Is it Google? Is it direct mail? Is it?
I really like Google searches. I think a budget on Google of, you guys know your budget's better than anyone, but $500 a month or something like that on Google AdWords. Make sure you're showing up in that map pack on Google. That's really important because landscape lighting, it's a niche. I mean, it's like, the keywords, the things people are searching. Google's never going to do you wrong because they're warm leads. I really like a combination of Facebook with traditional marketing, especially with a service like landscape lighting, where like the before and after pictures are so powerful, right? You can do a picture of a house that's not lit up with no lighting and then do a side picture of a house that's lit up with the lighting. And sometimes it doesn't even look like the same home. I mean, like the service is that powerful. And so I really like stuff where it's like a Facebook ad of like a before and after picture or something, with a direct mail piece with the same before and after picture with the company info. You're going out, you're popping door hangers, you're putting yard signs on the stoplights coming out the freeway, the gas stations, the Target, the Whole Foods in those neighborhoods. Like, marketing is touches. And nowadays you have the ability to create the same result as a company like Home Depot with your marketing touches. Like, literally, like, you could see a TV ad, a billboard, a newspaper, a postcard, a Facebook, a yard sign, or whatever. And by that 6th, 7th, 8th touch, you're like, oh, wow, I trust that company. And again, if you geo down and only focus on the neighborhoods that you're getting some good responses in, or that you have a lot of jobs in, your job is just educating those homeowners. And depending on the budget, like the books will tell us, right? And right, like we're both readers, and I've read anywhere from 8%, 12%, 20% of what you want to be doing in gross revenue should be spent on marketing. So an easy number to say is, if you want to do $1 million, you're supposed to be spending $100,000 in advertising. But a lot of guys that say, I want to do $1 million, are doing $400,000 right now. The path to $400,000 to $1 million is not a year. So you got to back out that data and rationally look at, like, what did you do last year? What did it cost you? What did you make? What would you be willing to do to get to $1 million should be your question. Because if someone told me, Dave, it's your 3rd year in business, and if you spent $200K this year, you could get to $1 million and be there for the next 10 years. I'm like, where am I going to find this $200,000 that I have to spend to get to where I want to go? Because I'm an impatient entrepreneur.
Right. Hey, and by the way, I had no idea that you were going to bring up the Go Giver book. I just had it sitting here because I was referencing it. That's crazy, or whatever. So I'm like, dude, that's funny. Crazy how things work. And a couple things one thing I really like about what you said, and I call it the marketing mix. I don't think I invented that term, but it's basically, the more you do, like when you combine the yard signs with the door hangers, with the Facebook ads, with the direct mail, the Google ad, the GMB, that is when you are on, like, all cylinders are firing and you get momentum, because no matter where they look, they see you, and now you are going to capture that client. If people are dabbling with marketing, it's not as effective. I mean, it's like, okay, you send out a postcard, it's gonna work. It's just not gonna work as good if they didn't see all these other things working for you. So I'm a big fan of marketing, and I know that the more you do, the better it works.
Amen. Checking the boxes. It goes to best practices. It's like, look, when I say you can achieve the same results as a company like Home Depot, the idea is that you can literally market and do the door hanger, the yard sign, the postcard, the Facebook, the TikTok, the whatever, and you're just omnipresent. It's like the marketing mix, like you just said. There's only so much you can do, and hard work is going to outperform everything every day.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your company specifically and some of the programs that you have. Tell us quickly about Dope 360 and how easy it is to use, and how it allows you to target zip codes and new homeowners and all sorts of stuff. Let's talk about that.
So direct mail on demand with no minimum order. It's as easy as we can make it. So direct mail traditionally is going to be a very cumbersome process. You got to find a list to send it to, clean the list up, deal with that, whatever. Go through a designer, jump through those hoops, a week, 2, back and forth, whatever. Finding a template, asking your ex-girlfriend if she likes it, and posting it on Facebook and whatever. Dealing with the print company who's got to print all this stuff and ship it to you and probably get it there at whatever time and blah, blah, blah. And then the post office who's going to deal with sending that mail out. Instead of that taking 2, 3, 4 weeks, we make that take 20, 30, 40 seconds. We have templates on demand. We have lists on demand. We can help you clean up your list, get you a list of homeowners, new home buyers. I'll talk about that in a second. Bunch of different lists, right? If you said, Dave, I want a list of people in my area in Utah with million-dollar houses. They're over 40 to 65 years old. They have more than one kid, and they own a motorcycle. Like, we can put them on a list and automate direct mail to that person. We have a feature called Neighborhood Blitz where you can go in and send postcards to, I just got a job approved. I want to send 50 postcards to neighbors. Boom, done deal, automatic, happens easily. Super easy, super simple. And again, no minimum order. Any trigger you can think of. For those of you familiar with Zapier, we have a Zapier integration. So if you want to mark a job paid and 25 neighbors get a postcard about, we just finished a job at 123 Main Street. We automate that. We make it simple. Thank you cards, handwritten direct mail.
Don't say that too quick. What he just said, you guys, I mean, you finish a job and then all their neighbors get a postcard that said, we just finished up a landscape lighting job. If you guys need anything, you want a free demo, here's the number. Like, that's killer stuff. I know.
And you can upload like a custom picture of that job. So it's got the city name at the top. So like Ogden, Utah homeowners, we just finished a job on Main Street. Like, all of it is so customizable, easy.
Seriously, do not skip over that. Like, you do it every day. So you're like, blah, blah, blah. We do all this stuff that makes people millions of dollars, whatever. Like, no. He said he does this. It's so cool. It's so cool.
It's like traditional marketing's hard. Again, you guys got 100 problems during the day. We just solved 7 of them perfectly. And a lot of that has to do with direct mail, which, guys, like, I was sending 100,000 pieces of direct mail a month in the heyday of my cleaning company, scaling it. I know how painful it is. We were bringing in banquet tables into the shop to have the husbands and wives of the company come sit in and like bundle up the EDDM and do the stuff and whatever. And we found out how to take, I was getting a better result. I remember the first year we added Christmas lights. I was so hard on EDDM. EDDM versus sending direct mail, there's 2 differences. EDDM is saturation. Sending direct mail is to a list. So EDDM is going to go to renter, owner, short, tall, bold, skinny, fat, whatever. Everyone's getting a postcard with EDDM. And we had done a ton of that. Volume, it's a little cheaper, whatever. Direct mail is going to go to a list. So in the heyday, we were doing 100,000 pieces of EDDM. And the first year we did holiday lighting, I was sending like 50,000 pieces of EDDM every 3 weeks. And I was like, this is painful. I'm not getting enough work from it. Data on previous engagement. Next year, I look at the same zip codes and I was like, we're only targeting homeowners with a home value over $500,000 in these zip codes. I sent a fourth of the mail that we had sent the year before, and I got an 8 times better return on that mail. Like, again, nobody got this stuff figured out until you test it and try it and go through it. But we have some of the knots on our head with direct mail that make it a little more simple, so you don't have to go through these pains. And we can give some guidance there. I think like that radius neighborhood mailing, the neighborhood blitz stuff is insane.
And I will say this,
powerful. And
with my experience in direct mail, even though you guys have it figured out, the first time I always tell people the first is the worst, because you're not gonna, if you expect to like spend $6,000 and like, oh my gosh, I just made like 600 grand on it. It's just not going to happen.
Not real.
Second time someone sees it, it gets more traction and more traction. So if you decide to start doing it, go with the plan of like, this is not a one-time event. Like we're going to talk to Dave and figure out what his team says. We got to do this every 4 weeks, every 2 weeks, every other month, whatever it is. Go with him and go with his suggestions, because that's when you're going to get the actual results that you need.
Direct mail will never work if you send it one time. If it was that simple to send out one campaign and have your business change, like, why would anyone have a job?
Okay, so tell me this real quick, because we're like out of time. I can't believe it. That's why I said this show needs to be 4 hours. But one thing we know is that when people buy a new home, they want to make it theirs. They don't want to buy someone else's home and be like, live in someone else's home for 10 years.
Correct.
Like they want to customize it. They want to make it theirs. So we know that when people buy new homes, they tend to spend money. How can you help solve that problem of us as landscape lighting guys trying to get in front of new homeowners?
So it's a fascinating statistic you bring up, Ryan. So Ryan lives at 123 Main Street. Dave moves in next door to 125 Main Street. Dave is going to spend $8,000 to $12,000 in cash within 90 days more than Ryan on a new landscape lighting, a new mechanic, a new dentist, a new chiropractor, a new window cleaner, the list goes on. The question is, how much of that $8,000 to $12,000 do you want? And so we have a list which is very unlike any other company you've heard of. A lot of like new mover mailing has been around for a very long time, longer than I've been alive. I turned 36 this year, and there's been campaigns going on since way before 1985 of people marketing to people that just bought homes. Those lists are batched monthly. So monthly, Dave buys a house in June, and in July, the list is aggregated for everyone that bought a house in June, and then it takes a week or two for them to get the mail out. So 6 weeks after Dave buys a house, traditionally, he starts getting marketed to him. For any of you homeowners watching this, you'll remember this. Week 4, week 5, week 6, the golf course and the dog walker and all these restaurants, all these people are hitting me up now because I'm on this list of a title got exchanged or a phone got hooked up, wherever this data comes from. We being nerds at Dope Marketing, we aggregate this list every day. Every single day of the week, we have between 20 and 35,000 homeowners across the United States that bought a home. Not a renter, not an apartment building, someone who purchased a home. We have campaigns from simply a postcard to a handwritten envelope that's pink with an insert, with a booklet about your business, with a coupon in it, like anything you can think of to get in front of the new home buyer, to win that race to the door. And we have this on a monthly subscription. You can get it set up. It's completely automated to where you give us a cap. Let's say you're in a big city like Ryan, where you sold your business, like in Houston, right? There's 500-600 new homeowners a month or something. You're like, man, I just want to spend 200. You can say, Dave, I want to spend $200 a month and then cap it off, or let me know how many are left after the 200. We can set that up. It's super customizable on a subscription plan. We got deals at 3, 6, and 12 months because some businesses are seasonal, or we can adjust for other services. But one of my favorite lists in the world is new home buyers, or let's end this on a thought with like, what's the best target for a landscape lighting or a home service business? New home buyers, crazy, but there's a cap there in your area, or every day or every month. There's only going to be so many. It'll be some of your favorite money to spend, but once we're out of it every month, I don't have any more for you until you open another location wherever. So the other list that gets very, very powerful is a list like a homeowner that is 35 to 55 years old. I don't care how much money they make. I don't care how many kids they have. I don't care if they have a pet. We all want to get really granular. I know that when I enter the door, Karen is this old and she's this much and she has this. Get out of your head. Here's the deal. Zip code, home value, that's it. Keeping up with the Joneses. We're humans. We are predictable creatures. If you take 10 guys, put them in a room, and these guys are 40 to 45 years old, they own a home that's over 500,000. They drive a Tahoe. They have a Corvette. They have 2 kids. 8 out of 10 of those guys are going to do the same thing. So dumb that down. If you live in the same neighborhood and your house is the same value as your neighbor, you're probably going to use the same services as your neighbor. That's as far as you have to think about it. So when you think about the list you're targeting your business, new home buyers are amazing. We can help with that. But if you just want a list of people in your area, everyone in Salt Lake City that has a home value over 500,000 and has owned their home for more than a year, we can put that on a list. We can automate a campaign behind that.
That's so awesome, man. I love what you're doing. I love that you're focused on the home service businesses, is we got a lot in common. We got a lot of people that we can help together. So I guess tell us if people want to find out more, if they want to find out about your company, whatever, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Really easy to find. I'm the bald guy smoking on the internet yelling at you at Dope Marketing. DOPE Marketing. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, dopemarketing.com. We manage the messenger on our site on Facebook almost 24 hours. Very easy to get a hold of. Put it into Google, Dope Marketing. I promise you it will not be hard to point out.
Okay, man. Thank you so much for coming on here. And Dave, I'm going to have you next month. We're going to do a private training for the members of Landscape Lighting Secrets, which I'm glad we're doing because we only covered like 10% of what we need to talk about. So we'll see you next month inside Landscape Lighting Secrets. Thanks,
Appreciate
buddy.
you guys. Thank you for having me, Ryan.
See you, buddy.
Hey Turfs Up Radio fans, do you know what time it is? That's right, it's Turfs Up Radio time. Now you can hear the latest updates in green industry news, services and technology. Learn about new products all while enjoying the best music. If you don't believe me, then ask my good friend Alexa. Just say launch Turfs Up Radio.
Are you a military family with a spouse on deployment away from home? Did you know that nonprofit Project Evergreen has thousands of volunteers across the country ready to help military families with lawn, landscape, and snow removal services? We call it Green Care and Snow Care for troops. If you are a military family and would like to receive this free service, or if you'd like to volunteer to help, visit projectevergreen.org. Project Evergreen, creating a greener, healthier, cooler Earth. 1 yard at a time.
Hey, this is Jeff Hesser, senior contributor and co-host of the Weekend Review here on Turfs Up Radio. Can't make it to major green industry events, but want to stay connected? Don't worry, we have you covered. Be sure to download the Turfs Up Radio app or visit our website. We'll bring you the live coverage you need to keep you up to date with everything that happens in our industry. And to find out where we'll be next, simply visit greenindustryevents.com. That's greenindustryevents.com. And always remember, Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
All right. What's going on, guys? It's Ryan Lee, host of Lighting for Profits here on Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station. Oh, man, we just finished up a sweet interview with David Carroll of Dope Marketing. That guy is dope, man. It's no wonder he calls his name, the company Dope. He's got all the latest stuff, all the best ways to help you make the most profits in your business. So I highly recommend reaching out. He specializes in the home service because I didn't realize that. I actually didn't know that he had his own cleaning service. So it makes sense. And I think that's cool because there's a lot of marketing companies out there, but there's not many that actually understand exactly what you want and how you want to get it, right? So before we end the show today, I want to just leave you with my lighting tip of the week. And my lighting tip of the week is pre-qualifying. You know, a lot of people think that they need help with sales. Like, I'm not a closer, I'm not pushy. You know, but honestly, there's a lot of things that you can do in advance before the sale even happens to make sales really easy. And I talked to Dave about that. I mean, it starts with your marketing. It starts with your customer experience, all these different things before you even get to the sale. And if you do really good at all these other things, including pre-qualifying, then the sale is not so scary because you're just helping someone get what they want. You're just solving that problem. You're just a helper. You're just an advisor. You're just a trusted advisor. So, you know, a lot of people think they're pre-qualifying when they ask, like, you know, they answer the phone and say, oh, where do you live? And they find out what neighborhood. And they're like, oh, it sounds like a nice neighborhood. They must be pre-qualified. Well, that's not actually true, right? Because I've seen $2, $3, $4 million houses that have solar lights in front of them. And I've knocked on their door and they don't want anything but those solar lights. They don't value landscape lighting. They're at least not yet. They're not ready for that, right? And so not everyone is pre-qualified just based on where they live. So, you know, and I understand, you know, when you're starting out, you know, you're anxious, you want to take advantage of every opportunity. So you're like, man, if the phone rings, I'll go meet with you, right? But in order to scale, you need to be efficient, okay? And you want to make sure you're meeting with buyers. You don't want to meet with lookers, okay? You're not trying to get bids. You're trying to close deals. So it costs a lot of time, a lot of money to generate a phone call. You want to make sure that you're taking full advantage of it and you're not wasting time meeting with people that you probably shouldn't be. So one tip I will give you is every time that phone rings, you need to answer it within 2 rings. Because understand this, even though you're pre-qualifying them, they're pre-qualifying you. Early on in my career, I remember not answering the phone at all. Someone left a voicemail. I called them back an hour or 2 later. They told me, you know what, we already got somebody. We already got someone coming. I said, no, okay, well, I'll still come out and give you a quote. They said, no, you don't understand. We're not going to get a quote from you. And like, I literally lost out on an opportunity to give a bid because I didn't answer my phone. So this is crucial. Make sure that you're answering the phone within two rings. And by the way, it should not be you. It should be somebody else. You know, if you're an entrepreneur, then start acting like one, right? So do delegate or delete, the 3 Ds. Make sure that, you know, if you're not doing it, that you're delegating to someone else. And if someone else is not doing it, then delete it. Okay. It's not worth it. But when you're pre-qualifying, I want to make sure that you understand they're pre-qualifying you. So you want to ask, like where they came from, okay? Because if you find out that they were a Google lead versus a referral from a friend or something like that, you know, you can kind of steer your sales presentation a certain way, right? Ask them what they're looking to have done. Have you had landscape lighting before? When are you planning on having it installed? What is your budget? And they're not going to tell you the budget a lot of times, but it's still important to ask, okay? And they could say, if they say, well, we're not sure what it costs, then you can tell them, well, you know, our minimum is $2,500 and an average job costs between $8,000 and $10,000. You need to tell about your company, brag. Okay. This is your chance because again, they're pre-qualifying you. So state that minimum, state your average job, and then ask them the question, does that sound about what you're looking for? And then they'll tell you the real budget and say, well, no, we were thinking it would be $1,500. Or yeah, that seems reasonable. We were thinking it would be about 10 grand. Okay. And that's valuable information that you can use in your sales presentation. So that's just my quick tip of the week. Make sure you're pre-qualifying. If you guys have any questions else, I went super quick on that, But if you have anything else, just shoot me an email at support@ryanleecoaching.com. I want to thank my guest, Dave Carroll, for coming on with Dope Marketing. You guys don't hesitate to reach out to him if you need help with your marketing needs. And I want to remind you guys to keep working on your business every single week, every single day. I promise you, your future self will thank you. So keep moving forward and keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. And that is going from business operator to business owner. Wish you guys the best of luck. Have a great week. Keep moving forward. We'll see ya.